This is gaming it. We are gaming in progress.
What's going on, guys? This is Done with Gaming in Progress, and today we're going to be talking about something that is kind of really stupid. So let me just preface this by saying I don't really do these types of videos anymore. I used to do like the whole response videos to things all the time back when I was first starting out, because it was like what it was because of the whole Gamergate thing. There was a lot of stuff going on and a lot of back and forth response things and stuff and things like that. So it's been a while since I've kind of dived into this sort of thing here. But I saw this video. It was being talked about in a group that I'm in, and I looked at it and I started to watch it, and I'm just sitting there going, what the fuck is this? What in the actual fuck is this? So we're gonna be talking about it today, and we're actually gonna be watching it, and I'm gonna respond to all of the points as I go, basically in the whole classic response video style, if you will. So please try to keep up. And if you're wondering why there's a t-shirt on my chair, that is for when I use the background removal feature on my webcam. It seems to work best if I have a white t-shirt on my chair. Since my wall behind me is white and the shirt's white, it helps it remove the background that much easier. So that being said, we're gonna jump right into this here. So here is, according to Cracked.com, 5 ways gamers are holding back the games they love. Let's get into this.
Hey America, I'm Cracked Senior Editor Josh Sarkeesian.
Hello. I have no idea who the fuck you are, even though you told me who you are, and I don't really care who you are.
And I'm here to talk about video games, specifically to say that we let them down, guys.
That's literally not impossible. We cannot let video games down. Video games are inanimate things that, well, in case you didn't realize, are not real. They are, in fact, fake. They are virtual. They are stories that are told in a fictional sense, you know? They are not real. The characters in them are not real. So we literally cannot let video games down. The people who make video games can let gamers down, but you can't. Gamers can't let video games down. That's not how it works. Okay.
They were supposed to be the future. Interactive storytelling was supposed to surpass movies as the new art form of a new generation, but we won't let it.
It has. Where the fuck are you? Have you not played Undertale? Have you not played Life is Strange? Have you not played The Last of Us? And these are just like 3 games off the top of my head. There are countless games that tell amazing stories. Even little silly indie games like Five Nights at Freddy's tell interesting stories that go back to our childhood with the whole, animatronic things, and animatronics are kind of creepy as a kid, and blah, and stuff like that.
We're holding them back because we can't admit that the level of violence in video games is smearing banana paste on your chest and calling yourself the king of France insane. Look.
What? So, let's go back here. He says that, hang on here. The level of violence is smearing banana paste on your chest and calling yourself the king of France insane. The level of violence is not really that different than it was in the 90s for video games, or than it is in the film industry. The difference now is the fact that, video games have evolved because programs have evolved, and they look more realistic now, thus they seem more violent, but I mean, no, not really. I mean, one of the most violent games of all time, or brutal games of all time, is still Manhunt, and that game's like, what, fucking 10 years old, at least? So, what are you doing here, buddy? What are you doing here? What are you doing? What kind of are you smoking? You're not Snoop Dogg. You don't know shit, you know.
Game bros and game ladies, I don't think violence in video games is a bad thing.
You don't think violence in video games is a bad thing, and yet you were just talking about how stupidly insane you think violence in video games is. Make up your fucking mind, dude. Seriously, make up your fucking mind.
I just think it's weird that it's the only thing.
It's not the only thing. Fucking, you have first person shooters and third person shooters, yeah. But you also have open world games. You have games where the primary focus is hacking. Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. You have games such as No Man's Sky where the primary focus is exploration, even though that didn't come out quite right. You have games like Minecraft where you can build these amazing things. Like, so many people have made amazing things like entire cities and cathedrals and all kinds of crazy things in Minecraft. People even made video games inside of Minecraft and making games within games. You have games like YouTuber's Life, where you can basically play a game where you get to be a YouTuber, but you're not actually a YouTuber because it's a lot easier in that game than it actually is in real life. You have games like The Sims. You have Sim City and Cities Skyline, these massive city builders and life simulating games. And you have story-driven games like Undertale and The Last of Us. And you have like superhero games like the Batman Arkham games, and it goes on and on and on. There are so many different types of games that don't focus on violence, or don't focus on violence exclusively. Like Watch Dogs 2. You can go run around and kill people, but it's not really advantageous to do so. Like, if you're trying to sneak into a place, you're not going to want to just go in there guns blazing. You're going to want to go and either, like, stun people or knock them out or whatever, or you're going to want to try and hack your way in there. Yeah, sure, there's games out there that focus on gunplay and stuff like that, but to say that that's, like, pretty much all there is fucking bullshit, dude. It's bullshit.
4 of the 5 best-selling games of 2015 are just about killing people. And when I say about, I mean the
4 out of 5. Okay, let's look at these. You got Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Well, you do have the multiplayer. Yeah, you kill people in the multiplayer, you know, because, well, that's what people like to do in the multiplayer. You have the story, which is actually pretty good. You have Zombies, where you're not killing people, you're killing undead people. You have Madden, which obviously is not one of the ones he's talking about. You have Fallout 4, where the primary focus is, well, whatever you want it to be. That's the beauty of Fallout 4. You can just play it to go run around and kill monsters and mutant behemoths and commies and stuff like that. Or you can play it for the story, or you can play it for like all the modding and stuff, or the base building or whatever. There's so many different things to do in Fallout 4. To say Fallout 4 is just about killing people is really a disservice to Fallout 4. And if you actually played video games, I think you would know that, but I'm not under the impression that you actually know what you're talking about. And then you've got Star Wars Battlefront. Well, yeah, you kill people, but that's a war game that's based in the Star Wars universe. The primary attention grabber for that isn't killing people, it's you're in Star Wars. You're playing through your favorite maps in Star Wars and getting to relive the moments of the Rebel Alliance clashing with the Empire, and you get to play as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and fly the Millennium Falcon. You get to fly the Millennium Falcon. And even in Star Wars Battlefront 2, it was fun. I don't think you could even do it in Battlefront 2, but you can do it in this Battlefront, and it is fun. So again, to say like the primary draw of Star Wars Battlefront is just to kill people is a disservice to the game, in my opinion. And then you've got Grand Theft Auto 5, and you're saying the primary focus of that is killing people. Well, no. It's kind of in the name, Grand Theft Auto, you know, stealing cars, racing the cars, robbing banks and stuff like that. Yeah, there is a lot of crime in that game, and there is a lot of killing people, but again, it's not like you're making to me, he's making this out to seem like all there is to do in these games is kill people, and that's simply not the case.
The reason we play these games is so we can pretend to kill people.
The reason you might play these games is so that you can pretend to kill people. That's not what everybody... Hell, a lot of people in fucking GTA nowadays just play GTA Online doing the fucking, like, stupid racing maps that all these people create. That there's some really crazy fucking racing maps.
With guns, specifically. Because we don't want any innovation getting between us and scratching our murder itch.
And it's not just guns specifically. There's tons of fucking games out there that you kill people in that use more than guns, or don't even have the primary focus as being guns. You're being fucking as nitpicky and fucking selective here just to prove your fucking narrative as Anita Sarkeesian. And I hate to make that assumption because I hate to mention her and give her any more attention because she's already had enough fucking attention as it is, but you're literally pulling an Anita Sarkeesian right now, you dense motherfucker, okay? Stop.
One Twitter user pointed out that at the 2016 E3 Gaming Expo, 89% of the games shown were about solving problems with violent retribution.
And then you go and fucking bring Jonathan McIntosh in this. One Twitter user, like, you don't know who the fuck that is, cause, well, I gotta pretend to be stupid, cause the internet, well, they don't know any better, you know. No. We all know you know who the fuck that is and what the fuck you're talking about. By what the fuck you're bringing to the table here by bringing in and mentioning Jonathan McIntosh. You can try and just say, oh, he's just one Twitter user. No. He's fucking tied to feminist frequency. He's said a lot of bullshit, and a lot of bullshit he's said has been disproven and debunked to be just that. Bullshit.
And people lost their shit at him just for saying that. Why?
No, they lost their shit at him because he's fucking Jonathan McIntosh. Don't pretend you don't know who the fuck he is, dude. You're not fooling anybody.
He's literally doing math. That's gaming.
He's literally doing math. You know, I just gotta say, from one nerd to another, you make me embarrassed to be a fucking nerd right now. Seriously. You are fucking just... I can't.
If anybody watching isn't a games folk, and if so, rude.
If anybody doesn't play games, if so, rude. You know, because it's rude not to play video games. Fuck you. Seriously. Fuck you. You're just as bad as the people who, like, go super rage mode and get viral on the internet because they fucking flip over their Christmas dinner because of the fucking PlayStation 4 bullshit or whatever that viral video was recently.
I want to point out that games can do a lot of stuff that isn't murder. There's The Sims. There's Minecraft. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
Really? You're a gamer and you can only think of two things off of the top of your head that you can do that doesn't have murder in it. I've already listed, like, way more than that in the last, like, however long I've been doing this, and I wasn't even trying. So, you're fucking, that just those two things are all you got? Really? Because, you know, I'm pretty sure you had somebody write the script for this, and you're just the guy in front of the camera, and I'm pretty sure that anybody writing the script would know that there's more to do than those just those two little things, you know. Sims and Minecraft, that's all there is that has no violence, you know. Everything else in the entire gaming industry is violence. No Man's Sky, that's violence. Gone Home, that's violence. Even that shitty Depression Quest, that's violence. City Skyline, that's violence. Yeah.
But we gamers still choose to spend our gaming dollar almost exclusively on recreations of the most f***ed up shit we see in the news.
Really? I'm not even gonna Yep, because, you know, the only thing gamers buy is, like, the only thing gamers buy is School Shooter 2016, you know, or Mass Rail Yard Shooting 2016, stuff like that, you know. Those are the games we buy, you know. We don't buy, like, simulated warfare games. We don't buy city builder games. We don't buy all the different types of games that there are out there, RPG and strategy and stuff like that. We just buy, you know, the games that'll teach us how to teach you how to do the school shootings and stuff, you know. Fuck this guy. Seriously. Fuck this guy.
Now look, I enjoy casual violence as much as I enjoy cigarettes or toilet hoops.
Was that supposed to be a joke? Was that supposed to be a joke, buddy?
But of course it's weird. When we pretend it doesn't look weird, that just makes us look more weird. Compare these games to the top 5 highest grossing movies of 2015. It's still mostly violence, but at least it's different kinds of violence.
I've already been through this. I'm just gonna skip ahead here because I already explained that the games that have violence in them have different types of violence. But, you know, we'll just let this guy continue to push his stupid fucking bullshit narrative.
I get it though. This is a sensitive topic for a lot of people because we remember a time when people were trying to make video games not a thing anymore.
So here's where he's gonna bring up Jack Thompson.
In the 90s, there was serious discussion about whether or not games were causing all the problems in the world and needed to be banned forever.
And you kind of doing that now here, but you know.
Or at least it seemed that way to us because we were kids and didn't realize that these kinds of controversies happen like once a decade and always end up being as ephemeral and meaningless as, say, Piers Morgan. But today, we spend $25 billion a year on video
Congratulations, you can look up a number on Wikipedia.
games. $25 billion. That's 4 times more than we spend on guns, and look at how powerful the gun industry is.
Ah, yes, he had to get that little gun tidbit in there, you know. Gotta bring in the real gun, the real quote unquote gun problem in America, you know, and in the video games, because you know video games cause violence, even though they don't.
We're an important part of the economy now, so at the risk of sounding cynical, even if scientists wearing lab coats and speaking in European accents conclusively proved that video games caused real-world violence,
Except for they've proven the exact opposite, that video games don't cause real-world violence, that there's no correlation between the two.
they probably still wouldn't take them away. Because gaming is expensive enough now to be a rich people hobby, and rich people hobbies can be literally anything. We're safe. Who cares? So let's just go full punk rock and admit that gaming is super
No, gaming is not super fucked. You might be super fucked after you made this video, but gaming, no.
The anger thing probably isn't a coincidence.
Ah, yes. Your video games, the whole video games make you angry and cause violence.
Already, I know that some of you are questioning whether I'm a true gamesman. So let me be clear here and say that my gamer cred is unfucking impeachable. When I learned the true meaning of loyalty and friendship, it wasn't because some friends and I discovered a dead body in the woods. It was from Minsk in Baldur's Gate and his unwavering devotion to Boo the miniature giant space hamster. So step on.
Really? You're gonna prove your quote-unquote gaming cred by listing like one fucking reference to Baldur's Gate that you could have easily had the guy who wrote this fucking hack shit Google? Really? That's your gaming cred? That's it? So step off. See guys, I'm cool. How do you do, fellow millennials?
And yet, despite this obvious pedigree, I still don't like to call myself a gamer, because that word seems less associated with video games and more associated with being a dick on the internet. In fact, Google literally autocompletes the word gamer to Gamergate, which was an internet harassment campaign with ties to white supremacy groups.
Gamergate was a harassment campaign, except it wasn't. Gamergate is tied to white supremacy groups, except it wasn't. So, where are you getting this? Like, where's your facts here, you know? You just, like, fucking Googling shit and running with it, you know? Because, I mean, that's not really great research, buddy. But see, I knew he was going to bring this up, because anytime you shit on gamers, you have to bring up Gamergate. As you're basically your reasoning why. It's like, oh, I don't call myself a gamer because Gamergate and harassment and yeah. You know, but it's Gamergate was never about harassment, and fucking people got harassed on both sides, and that's fucking been proven that people got harassed on both sides. And there were fucking trolls in the middle of it just fucking spewing shit left and right. So you're fucking little, well, I'm not a gamer because Gamergate happened. No, you play video games, you're a gamer. There's no other word for it. There's no other way to describe yourself other than a gamer. So accept it and move on, you fucking shitlord. Like, seriously, this guy is ridiculous. And I'm not even halfway through here, and I'm already 21 minutes into fucking recording time.
So just searching for my hobby on the internet puts me 3 clicks away from being on yet another government watch list.
Gamers are not on government watch lists. Neither are people in Gamergate. But, nice try there, buddy.
I can also tell you anecdotally that writing about video games attracts way more internet hate than writing about anything else. Compare the comments under a "this movie is sexist" article to the "this video game is sexist" article on literally any website, and you'll see the difference.
Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. The video game community is a lot larger, as you mentioned before. It's one of the largest industries in the world right now. So the community is much larger, and it has a much more active online presence than moviegoers are going to. So the reason why there's more hate for your stupid bullshit articles that you put out is, well, because of that. So I hope I explained that clearly enough for your little teeny tiny brain to understand. And well, you put something on the internet and you're gonna get criticism. You're gonna get positive feedback and you're gonna get negative feedback. And you're also gonna have people call you out on your fucking bullshit, asshole.
Also, everybody knows this. Even Reddit.
Did you fucking... And then you bring in Arthur Chu? Really? Are you even trying to be objective here, or are you just basically spewing your bullshit rhetoric? I don't think you're even trying to be objective here, because so far you've brought in one Twitter user, aka Jonathan McIntosh. You've shit-talked Gamergate and explained why you're not a gamer, and you've brought in Arthur Chu here. So I think you're kind of, maybe not as gamer as you say you are. Or you're one of those, like, self-hating gamers, it kind of seems like. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're just not that informed, It's possible, there are people out there who just believe whatever they see firsthand and don't do any additional research and, just ignore any of the actual facts of anything. I guess maybe you're one of those people. I don't know.
At a certain point, that's not a coincidence. And that certain point was 6 years ago, and people started advertising to us using our inability to control our temper as their gimmick.
You mean when they started stereotyping gamers? Because, there are people who game that are like that. That may not be the majority of us, but those people do exist. Kind of going back to all stereotypes exist for a reason. Kind of like the fucking stereotypes that we have about millennials, or that we have about liberals, or that we have about conservatives, or people that live in trailer parks, or people who live in the South, or people who live in Europe, or people who live in Australia and talk with accents and stuff like that. Everything has a stereotype. There's stereotypes for Christians, for people who watch movies, for people who make movies, for porn stars, YouTubers, Twitch streamers. There is a stereotype for literally everything. And that's what they do. They fucking use a stereotype to sell whatever and kind of just poke fun and have fun with it. This crazy thing called fun. I know the far left isn't really familiar with the concept of fun, but it's a thing, you have fun. You know what that is? No?
Anyway, games. Mostly about killing. Gamers. Mostly mad all the time. Maybe a link. Not a crazy idea.
And then he has to put the two together. Oh, games mostly about killing, except they're not. Gamers mostly angry all the time, except they're not. Maybe there's a connection. And, well, see, science disagrees with you there because studies have been done and it shows the exact opposite of this stupid little narrative you're trying to push. So, yay science! Go fuck yourself!
So here's our opportunity to be better than most professional sports and tackle an obvious problem head on before anybody gets hurt. We don't actually care about story. I've read hundreds, probably, of articles about why video game stories are so bad. Why, the articles ask. Why are they so bad? I'll tell you. It's because we gamers, you and me, don't give a f***. It's not why we play, and it never has been, and it never will be. The stories don't matter to us.
You may not give a shit about the story, but I love a game that has a good, compelling story. Perfect fucking example is the Mass Effect series. I have played through that series. I've played through the trilogy at least twice now, and then that's long. Those are long games to get through, and I've played through all three of them at least twice now. Another example, Life is Strange. Really popular game. all story. And it had like 6 different episodes. Another perfect example. Every Telltale game ever. Nobody plays the Telltale games for fucking gameplay. People play the Telltale games for the story. Another fucking example. The fucking earlier Fallout games. Fallout 3 had a really good story. Fallout 4, not so much. Fallout 3, though, had a good story. Even MMOs have made greater strides in recent years to have better and more cohesive stories, if you will. A perfect example of that would be Star Trek Online, which has created this massive story that fills in so many gaps of the different television shows and movies, all while giving you new characters to experience and stuff like that, and even bringing in the voice cast of a lot of people, of a lot of the characters from the different shows and movies. So to say that, oh, gamers don't care about stories is bullshit. Most people played The Last of Us for the story. Yeah, it was cool that it had a good multiplayer in there too, but most people played The Last of Us for the story. Yes, there are games out there that people primarily play for the multiplayer. But even games like Battlefield 1 have a really excellent story, and people play that primarily for the multiplayer. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare was more of a multiplayer game, except for it has a fun story to play through as well. So to say that gamers only care about the story, or only care about the multiplayer rather, is bullshit. A lot of gamers care about the story, and there are a lot of franchises that exist simply because they have compelling stories. So your fucking argument here is just as bullshit as every other argument you've made in this video so far.
Now, games have good stories. Last of Us has a cool story, and if you watch all the cutscenes on YouTube, it's a pretty good movie. In fact, you could make the argument that that's the best way to enjoy The Last of Us' story. Want proof? I'm making that argument right now. You just got told, welcome to the internet, I am your god.
You are not my god. Just like fucking what's her name is not my geek queen. So shut the fuck up. You sound like a condescending asshole when you say shit like that. Oh, maybe that's because, you are a condescending asshole.
Anyway, I gotta spoil this game for you. You spend most of The Last of Us as a big tough man named Joel protecting Ellie, a young girl. At the end, you find out that the only way to cure the world's zombie problem is to kill Ellie. But Joel can't let that happen, and he kills a bunch of scientists, escapes with Ellie, and lies to her about what happened. For the ending to work emotionally, like as a story, you have to believe that Joel sees Ellie as vulnerable and feels a responsibility to protect her. And yet, she's invincible during the entire game. She can't get hurt or even seen by enemies because if they could see her, the whole game would have been a huge pain in the ass. So a game can't compromise the fun for the sake of the story, even when the game's main appeal is the story.
So your argument here is because The Last of Us had certain game mechanics in it to prevent Ellie from getting hurt, that, well, the story doesn't matter because she's invulnerable throughout the throughout the whole game until the end. No.
Why? Because we just want to beat people to death with a baseball bat.
No, this isn't The Walking Dead. We don't just want to beat people to death with a baseball bat.
Again, no judgment, because that's awesome, but that's still why we're playing.
That might be why you're playing, but that's not why everybody else is playing. Another perfect example of a combination of a kick-ass story and kick-ass gameplay that has violence and whatever is fucking Gears of War and also, of course, God of War. Both of which have really great compelling stories and both of which have really great gameplay. Hell, Gears of War 3, when Dom died, had me crying. I'm somebody who is like 20 years old, and I will fully admit that fucking Gears of War, when I saw fucking Dom die, I cried. Gears of War made me feel that. Because he was a character that I had played with and fought alongside through 2 games prior to that. And when he died, the series ended to, like, I won't touch another Gears of War game because it's not going to be the same Gears of War without Dom in it, in my opinion. It's just like Halo Reach. The whole ending of Halo Reach was just really an emotional ending, and it made you feel, because you were trying to fight and you were trying to survive for as long as you could, but you knew that eventually you were gonna fall. You knew that nobody could come and save you. What was left of Reach had been evacuated, and it was just you against an army of Covenant forces while their ships were completely glassing the planet. Games can make you feel, and good compelling stories can make you feel. And to say that gamers don't care about stories is bullshit.
And the thing is, if we don't like a game's story that gets in the way of the gameplay, that means we don't actually care if games are art or not. Remember when Roger Ebert said that video games could never be art? We got all mad for that stupid old man because he doesn't even play video games. And then remember how we spent the next decade doing nothing to prove him wrong?
There are plenty of people out there who care if video games are art, and there are some really amazing visually appealing games that do very amazing things in the sense that makes them art. And the perfect example I would have to say of this is Limbo. Really cool game, not really great for story or gameplay, but just the artwork in that game was really great. And there are a lot of smaller games out there that have really great artwork, and those types of games are great, and they make them art. So to say again, you're trying to do this thing that a lot of people like you seem to do. This crazy thing where you speak for all gamers, and you just kind of just say, oh yeah, there are gamers out there who don't care if games are art, but there are also gamers out there who care that games are art. I've played a lot of different games, and there are games that I've played for the story, there are games that I've played for the multiplayer, and there are games that I've just played because of the amazing and beautiful artwork in them, and nothing else. So to say that gamers don't care if video games are art or not is just ridiculous to me.
Yes, video games can be art, and there are a ton of incredibly talented artists working in the industry, but we don't care. And when we pretend to, we sound like a teenager explaining that watermelon vodka is actually good liquor. Look, maybe Destiny has a rich and evocative mythology, but that's not what keeps people signing in every week. They're just doing that to get their fat loot so they can fight the tougher monster, and that, my friends, is different. That's the designer putting us in a Skinner box and getting us addicted to simulated accomplishments. I'm not sure what emotional truth you can get out of spending all day leveling up, but I do know that almost every video game review I've ever read has talked about whether the game hooks you and its replay value. Look, if we really cared about art, we wouldn't have reacted to Mass Effect 3's ending by demanding that they patch it in a way that lets us fulfill our power fantasy.
Yes. You can't bitch about an ending. No, you have a right to bitch, and you have a right to complain. Just as they had a right to either choose to modify the ending or not modify the ending. Personally, I thought the ending for Mass Effect originally didn't make much sense. They didn't really change the ending, they just gave more clarification on how the game would end. Like, they showed you more of your repercussions through the 3 choices that you would make at the end. What was really upsetting gamers, though, was the fact that you spent almost 3 games worth making all these decisions, and then you were left with, like, one of 3 choices that kind of just were somewhat similar but somewhat different. And a lot of people felt like that all the choices that they'd made leading up to that point didn't really matter.
And we wouldn't have created a petition to get a review of Uncharted 4 removed because we disagreed with it.
Again, you're doing that thing where you think all gamers speak for all gamers. Yeah, there were people out there who were upset about the Uncharted 4 review scores, but there were other people who felt they were justified. Different people have different opinions on different things. Shocker, I know! It's crazy, ain't it?
Because a big part of art is personal interpretation, not consensus. Demanding consensus is actually one of the most anti-art things you can do. So, if being fun and distracting is all it takes for something to count as art, then Jerry Springer counts as art, and professional wrestling, and making list-based comedy videos for the internet. And just as an aside...
No, what you do is not art, Cracked, I'm sorry. I see the joke you were trying to tell there, kind of just going like wink wink, you know.
Metal Gear Solid creator Hideo Kojima also thinks that games aren't art, and he's the guy who allowed me to create the most beautiful moment I have ever seen on a TV screen. Video games are not relaxing. When you talk to people about video games and bring up the stuff I've brought up, the violence, the lack of attention to story, the argument often becomes that they are a stress reliever. They're relaxing. You feel pent-up rage, and then you play video games, and you feel relaxed. The truth is, That's not how anger or stress relief or relaxation work.
Except for, again, people have found that playing video games is a stress reliever. Granted, that's not the only thing you should do to relieve stress, or not the only reason you should play video games, but it is a factor.
When you indulge in a violent video game fantasy, you're stimulating your brain but not your body in such a way that it not only exacerbates the frustration and anger, but associates frustration and anger with aggression in a way that is unhealthy in the long term, because aggression is unhealthy.
I wouldn't say aggression is entirely unhealthy. Yes, in large quantities and large lashing out, aggression can be very unhealthy. But letting off steam, in my opinion, is never unhealthy. And this little tidbit here is, of course, just my opinion. Kind of like most of what this guy has said, but see, I'm not construing my opinion as facts like somebody.
Look, I know the research is conflicted. And yes, I know who Craig Anderson and Christopher Ferguson are. If you don't Google it, it's boring. But if you put that aside, then you already know the truth. So let's just be honest. Games can be exciting, exhilarating, and infuriating, but they're not relaxing. None of us have ever drifted off to sleep playing Mario.
There are plenty of games that out there you can play that are relaxing. Minecraft is very relaxing, just to kind of sit back there and build cities and stuff. I find Cities Skyline, personally, to be very relaxing. There's also that flower game that a lot of people play that is very relaxing. It depends on the game. Another game that I'll give you an example of that I had a lot of fun playing, but I also find rather relaxing, was Firewatch. When I played through Firewatch, I found it to be very soothing, just kind of playing this game where you just kind of explore this giant forest and talk to this person on the radio, you know? Another example would be Stardew Valley. Very relaxing game. Well, as are most like farming games like that, like Harvest Moon.
We may have passed out face down on our keyboard playing EverQuest, but it's kind of different. Games are designed to be addictive. We sound like f***ing junkies when we say we find them relaxing and that they relieve our stress.
Ah, yes. So now, in addition to gamers being dicks on the internet, to being sexist and well, everything else, you know, gamers are junkies now too. Okay. You know, because we're drug addicts for video games. All right.
Like, we just need a hit of Call of Duty to take the edge off. So let's be honest. There's nothing wrong with saying that you play them for fun. There's nothing wrong with saying that we like ripping a demon's head in half because we're broken inside. I mean, it's better than admitting we're addicted to something.
And that's the end of that cancer-filled bullshit video. So that's basically all I have to say about this nonsense here. So that being said, I'm going to go over there and probably blow my brains out. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. If you guys didn't like this video, please be sure to give it a dislike. If you guys happen to be new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, question, or concern letting me know what you guys thought of this whole thing down in the comment section below. There'll be videos to the left and to the right, so check those out as well. And as always, this has been Definitely Gaming in Progress, and I will see you guys in the next video.